Come on. $400. Well, hello there, trolls. How are we doing today? You're the first one here today, always. You guys are just not used to mommy and daddy, man. I tell you, you guys got mom and daddy shrumps here.
Hey, I'm gonna run to Walmart real quick.
You
to get a plug-in for that. It's an HDMI cord that plugs into your. Need anything?
No. All we need is a fire.
I know, right?
I'm tired for these trolls, man. Come on, trolls, let's go. Let's talk. It's a beautiful day out in the woods here. I'm out here enjoying, man. Oh, we got light coming on here. Oh boy. $600. Maybe we'll get up higher. Maybe get more. No, lower. We got 1 like and 0 people talking. What is going on with everybody today? Come on, he will come in, start talking, say something. All right. Oh, we got 2 likes and no one's talking. Oh boy. You want trolls? You know, just ask your mommy and daddy, can you talk? There's a lot of things going on today. And right now I'm cooking. Not on the grill, I wish. But we're doing doing a slow cooker right now. Taking some time. Nothing fancy tonight. Well, cold tonight. I didn't really come dressed to be outside. Hello, how you doing today? Yes, it's just you so far. Right now, I am just sit outside, cooking on basically doing a slow cooker, right now. Nothing fancy. Oh, trolls! Look at you, trolls! Oh, look at the trolls. Trolls, are you lonely today or what? Man, trolls need help. All right, trolls. Adios, trolls. Adios, trolls. Man, these trolls are very lonely tonight, I tell you. What am I cooking tonight? I am doing right now, I'm doing meatballs in the slow cooker. That's it. Because the place I went to didn't have a grill. So I'm doing basically just meatballs. Nothing fancy. Yes, hammer time. The trolls, they're so lonely. They are very lonely. So right now I'm just, like I said, very simple. I mean, I could show you, but hold on. My car is in the way. I am helping somebody else out too. So right now, that's what I got going on there. Just the thing is, I can't keep opening up because the wind is blowing too hard. But it's in there. That and bread. Yeah, of course. Just something really simple. Nothing crazy. I can't keep opening it up because the fact that I keep doing that, then it'll get worse. It's taking her to cook. Oh, trolls, man, you guys are just lonely tonight. Oh boy. So, tomorrow, because this is what the damn. Sorry about that. Tomorrow, I plan on doing like it's like a pork roast. I'm gonna do it tomorrow in the slow cooker, but that takes hours, like 8 hours. I really want let's see, I really want a ribbon, but corned beef. But the thing is, everybody here doesn't have it, and I just I'm very picky. I'm sorry, I'm very picky. You know, I just can't buy meat. So, what I was gonna probably do, what I was thinking of doing was probably maybe like Italian beef sandwich. I could do that. That takes 8 hours. Saying actually takes 8 to 9 hours, but I could do that too. But because right now, I mean, all I have is a slow cooker. I have my little gas grill there, but I'm gonna try to find a place where I can. I'm gonna try to go to a place where it has a grill, like a whole grill, fire pit, the whole 9 yards. That's what I really want to get to, because I can't. I really cannot keep driving my car around right now. I gotta wait until I get my car fixed. I gotta get stuff done on the car. So that's something that has to be done. If I don't do it, then I have no car. So, but everything is fine. God is good. You know, I don't know what the temperature is gonna be tonight. I really want to be outside. I'm tired. I don't want to be dry. I can't drive around, so I gotta be outside. Good there. But how's things going with you? Because like I can attach like my phone to it, or I can show you guys. There's things that I've seen about the GSK file, more stuff, but the only thing I could do is in my car. That's it. Trolls, come on! I know you're still there. You guys got nothing better to do in your lifetime. Maybe you guys should go home and spend time with your parents, and spend time with your kids, man. You know, these times are very important. Even go read a Bible. Read a Bible verse. Do something in life. So, I don't know. Just, now, let's see, do you remember, Chucker G? I mean, do you remember Chucker G? I don't know if you're still there or not. I seem like it's all blurry. If you remember Tucker G, let me know. So right now, we're just gonna sit back, chit-chat, until hopefully this gets done early. But the place I went to, they didn't let you get in this place early, and that sucks, because I wish I would have got early, because it should have been done by now. Oh, they jump around again. You have 10 y'all here running for bustering. What? No, I guess we're moving on here. But pretty low. I wonder if we're buffering. Maybe that's why you're not here. We could give you guys the little field there. Oh, he's another troll, man. Look at these trolls. They got nothing better to do in a lifetime. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Man, trolls, I tell you, you guys got nothing better to do. You guys really just missed me or something. Okay, we gotta get rid of this here, get rid of that there, get rid of that there, get that there. Oh, yeah. Oh. Oh, there's 23 y'all here, only one person talking, and 8 likes. Whoa, man. I tell you, trolls, show some more love. If you're gonna at least come here, you at least hit the like button. Oh, we got 8. Come on, keep on going. We're not done yet. We got ways to go. We need a campfire. That's what I need, a fire going on. I wish I could make a fire. But you can't do it here. Gotta obey the rules here. Because right now, fire would be awesome. Nice little campfire going. Oh boy, I love that. Oh, we got 8 likes. Come on, trolls. 10 more to go. 10 more to go. Ooh, I got 19. Oh boy, come on. We still need more likes. We still need 10 more. Gotta keep on going, trolls. Just because you guys decide to leave me, we just still gotta go. We can't stop. Oh, come on. I can't let you out there, buddy. Not mine. I can't let you out there, buddy. Oh boy, come on. Man, 17 y'all here and only 7 likes. Come on, trolls. We still got to get 10 more. We can't stop now. Yeah, it's a little cold today out here. It's fire. Doesn't help that I have shorts on. Trolls, wake up. You might see a deer, maybe, we'll see. Those there's deers there too. And then today I got this drink that I'm gonna try out. It's called Green River. I've never had it before, but Trolls, maybe you might have had it before. I don't know. I think I'll try it out. They had it at the store for 25 cents. I think I'll try it out. I don't know what's gonna taste like. I might taste a sip and dump it out. I know he's talking here. Trolls usually they never talk because they don't like me. That's okay. But God loves them, so it'll be fine. Oh no 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 no! That's okay. But God loves them, so yeah, I know he's talking. Let's see. My trolls, say something else. You guys lost or what? We gotta wait for guests to get back. That's a respectful thing to do. Even if you got the place, you gotta be respectful. if anybody here that does talk to Trucker G, I know the trolls are probably over there, always on his channel. Or maybe one of the pages. Let's see. So you guys, whoever's here, can let Trucker G know the place is they're not bad. Dr. Thunder's not bad. I mean, I buy it. I don't really drink much pop, but it wasn't bad. Just, cheaper than paying for Dr. Pepper, I tell you that. Nice and cold too. So yes, Charles, you're right. I make sure the cooler is not in nobody's way, because I don't want you to turn over. So because I I'm thinking on the car. Maybe we should go and play that. I don't know, this JFK thing. The new one I just seen it. Actually, I don't know. It might be good. I like it was good to me. There's 11 of y'all here, and no one is talking. What's going on here? Only one pager talks to her. One. 1 out of 0. That's it. You guys, no one's talking here. Is that your guys' whole plan? Is it here to be quiet all night? And I can't help it. There's not a place for a start a fire right now. I wish I could. I would be 100% on top of it right now. But there's not. It's not here. $21 of y'all here and only one like. Man, I've never seen more likes than. Oh, now we can go back down. Trolls are getting bored. They gotta leave. They gotta go get their hot vodkas now. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start the car and get it warm, man. Wish this had a actual fire pit here. trolls can go in the car too. Bluetooth could not. Oh boy. Yes, your troller look at nothing. Nothing. Blink. What's going on there? Why this? It shouldn't be that dark. Not that bad. Come on, trolls. Talk. Say something. It's not that I was in the live stream, and I relax. See, maybe if I get my phone going, it'd be nice. I'd like to watch. There we go. Finally, able to watch the JFK style. Oh, we gotta turn this on real quick. I feel like the water is really cold tonight. A good thing there's not really bugs out tonight. It's cold though, because I have to get my my drink. My Dr. Thunder. See if we can try to. Yeah, wait till the thing to load here. Taking her, don't work tonight. Finally. Turn. There, kids. Don't be scared of dark. They'll be fine.
No, we were waiting for the JFK files. 80,000 of them. And no, I did not read all 80,000 of them, but our next guest already knows all of them by heart and can tell you what's really going on here. For the full hour, we have the legendary Roger Stone, and we're going to take our time here and go through what have we learned from the files, what do we know, and the truth about who killed John Fitzgerald Kennedy. With us is Roger Stone. Roger, welcome to the program.
Charlie, it's great to be with you. Before we start, once again, I want to commend you and Turning Point U.S.A. for the crucial role you played in the greatest comeback in American political history, the smashing victory of President Donald Trump.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Well, thank you, Roger. It was a team effort, and thank you for never leaving the president's side and for fighting all the way through. So, Roger, let's start with the most immediate news.
Trying to get
and then we can
better,
kind of go back
see
in
if that
time.
works.
What did we learn from this JFK file dump?
I think the one thing we learned is that the Central Intelligence Agency has dissembled in the past about their knowledge of Lee Harvey Oswald, at least his existence. We've learned that they knew he was not a good shot. I don't believe that he is the shooter from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. These documents have been in government hands for 62 plus years. In other words, plenty of time to sin. From Tennessee suggested early on that the president broaden his disclosure order to include every agency, not narrow it to the Kennedy assassination documents archive that is controlled by the Central Intelligence Agency. So we don't know if what we have seen is complete, but what we do know is what we've seen so far is inconclusive, other than to say it does confirm that the Central Intelligence Agency had far earlier knowledge of Oswald, and the documents we've seen so far tend to seek to reinforce what I still believe is a false narrative, that Oswald shot Kennedy. If Lee Harvey Oswald shot John Kennedy and he used a $26 World War II vintage Italian Army carbine, why does he have no powder burns on his chest or his arms or his hands, according to the test by the Dallas Police Department?
So let's just stay focused on the and by the way, I sympathize you 100%. I've always subscribed that this Oswald thing is nonsense. I think there were more than one shooter, but I want to get into that eventually. But just on the files, and I know this is a silly question, has anyone actually gone through all of them as of our conversation now, Roger? I mean, it's so much, it's so expansive. Has someone now finally thoroughly read all of them?
Other than to say that you can find a grok analysis of it, I think the answer is no. Also, the search capability is limited. So, in other words, if you search by certain terms, it won't work. I don't know a single person who has read all 80,000 documents. In fact, all 80,000 documents haven't even yet been uploaded. It was interesting that late in the day of disclosure, the day these were released, there were reports that the Department of Justice was going to delay the release based on purposes of national security. And then I was glad to see that Tulsi Gabbard, keeping the president's promise, announced when the documents could be seen both online and you can go to the National Archives and see them in person. You got to make an appointment, I believe, but for any American to see. So the president has kept his promise, but what we don't know is whether what is going to be released, all 80,000, is in fact complete. I don't think any conclusion can be drawn based on what we have seen, other than the agency's knowledge regarding Oswald starts far earlier than they say. Remember, Charlie, that was passed in 1994. The date set was 2017. At that time, President Trump released about 80% of the documents, and we learned of some amazing things there. For example, we had the 1099 from the IRS to Lee Harvey Oswald for his time working for the FBI as an informant. For example, we had a memo from J. Edgar Hoover, then the head of the FBI, to President Lyndon Johnson, saying that the KGB, the Russian intelligence agency, had conducted their own independent investigation into Kennedy's assassination. And they had concluded, as I did in my 2013 book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, that Johnson was complicit in Kennedy's assassination. So President Trump already released a number of really compelling and interesting documents way back in 2017. He didn't release all of them that time because Mike Pompeo, the CIA director, asked that 20% of the documents be held back. Those are the documents that we are seeing now and which we will see more of shortly.
So yeah, so just so our audience understands that they're still all being uploaded in real time. Is that correct? That this is a process?
That is correct. So all 80,000 are not out there. Therefore, it's impossible to make a total judgment.
With the stock market at record highs, are you prepared for the next downturn? Corrections can be unforgiving. Smart investors know diversification is the key to financial security. Noble Gold Investments make it easy to diversify with gold. With over $2 billion in sales, Noble Gold has helped thousands of Americans add gold and receive 2 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful coins as a thank you. NobleGoldInvestments.com. Don't let the next correction catch you off guard. NobleGoldInvestments.com.
There's a number of questions, and I've been posting them, that just remain unanswered, and it doesn't appear that we're going to get answers out of these documents.
So, do you think that there will be any documents that will prove your hypothesis, connecting it to LBJ? And if so, what would that even look like?
No, because I think actually the documentation of that is already established. For example, on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository building, we find the fingerprints of a man named Malcolm Mac Wallace. They're on both the window encasement and they're on the cardboard boxes that form the crow's nest from which the shooter allegedly shot. We know that they are Wallace's fingerprints because Wallace was arrested for first-degree murder and tried and convicted in 1951. He shot and killed a man named John Douglas Kinzer, who was blackmailing Lyndon Johnson. He was also an employee of the U.S. Agriculture Department in a patronage job arranged for him by, well, Senator Lyndon Johnson. Saw a man in the window of the Texas School Book Depository building who met the physical description of Wallace: middle-aged, heavy-set, balding, with glasses. 6 different witnesses see a man who meets that description, not the description of Lee Harvey Oswald. And then, as you may know, just weeks ago, Alex Jones released an audio tape that came from the grandson of Billy Sol Estes. Billy Sol Estes was a flamboyant Texas wheeler dealer. There's Malcolm Wallace, who was a crony of Johnson's, went to prison for corruption. But the grandson released an audio tape that is a conversation between Billy Sol Estes and Cliff Carter. Cliff Carter was the chief political operative for Lyndon Johnson, executive director of the Democrat National Committee in the 60s, in which they openly discussed the fact that Johnson had hired Wallace to shoot President John Kennedy. So it is my assertion that Johnson portion of this is pretty well proven. As you know, Charlie, the motivation for me to write my book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, from or contradicts the conclusion that the CIA is among those involved in the murder of Kennedy. But in his post-presidential years, I've been brought in to work on his schedule and do occasional political chores for him. And he was, as you know, liked a good martini. He was enormously prospective and not very retrospective. In other words, it was very hard to get him to talk about the past, about his relationship and friendship with John Kennedy or Dwight Eisenhower or Nikita Khrushchev or any of the high points and low points of his career. But after a couple of cocktails, he would open up a bit. And it was on one of those occasions that I said, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? He said, sure. I said, who really killed John Kennedy? And he stared into his martini for a few minutes. He looked up at me and he said, well, let me say this. The Warren Commission was the biggest goddamn hoax in history. I said, I'm sorry, sir. I don't understand. What are you saying? He said, well, let me put it to you this way. Lyndon and I both wanted to be president, but I wasn't willing to kill for it. And it was that motivated me to go into 5 years of research to write my book, in which I concluded that Johnson, who as the Senate Majority Leader took the very unusual step of appointing himself to the subcommittee of defense appropriations in the Senate, where the CIA's budget was secretly was the paymaster for the CIA. Johnson had also been receiving bribes from in Texas and Louisiana. Interestingly enough, the man who passed those bribes to LBJ, a man named Jack Halper, got a presidential pardon 2 days after Lyndon Johnson became president. He had been convicted on some unrelated charge. Johnson also obviously was the water carrier for big Texas Oil. So I believe all of those entities had their own interests in the removal of John Kennedy. In the case of the Central Intelligence Agency, which is the focus of most of these disclosures, there were two problems. One, the Bay of Pigs, which was the invasion of Cuba by the United States, that was designed to look like an indigenous Cuban uprising. Now, the plan, which was born under Eisenhower in a working group headed by Vice President Richard Nixon, included air cover for the men storming the beaches that was supposed to be supplied by 29 Panamanian-flagged fighter jets piloted by Cuban pilots. For reasons we do not know, the CIA canceled that the day before the invasion. Consequently, the invasion was a fiasco. The men storming the beaches in Cuba, the Bay of Pigs, were cut to ribbons. The Joint Chiefs went to JFK and said the only way to save the day here is to send in the U.S. Air Force. Kennedy refused because that would have exposed that this was a U.S.-sponsored operation. The CIA blamed Kennedy. Kennedy blamed the CIA. And then there's the Cuban Missile Crisis. We've been told that brave Jack and Bobby Kennedy faced down Nikita Khrushchev, who withdrew the missiles that he had stationed in Cuba 90 miles off our shore. But Charlie, that's not true. 40 years later, when documents were declassified, we learned what the military knew in real time, which was we removed our NATO missiles from Italy and Turkey in return for an agreement with Khrushchev to remove the missiles from Cuba. But that agreement had no on-site inspection. So there was deep distrust between the CIA and President Kennedy, and therefore a motive. We also know, and this can be quite well documented, that the intelligence services and the Secret Service had learned that John Kennedy had become addicted to methamphetamine. He was seeing Dr. Max Jacobson of New York, who was known also as Dr. Feelgood. Dr. Jacobson was attending many of the beautiful people of the day, Frank Sinatra, the opera singer Maria Calais, Pablo Casals, and he was injecting them with what they were told was a proprietary blend of vitamins and enzymes that would lift their energy. In fact, it was an early proprietary blend of methamphetamine. What I'm trying to do here, Charlie, is to demonstrate the motive of everyone who I believe is involved in Kennedy's assassination. So to wrap that up, the Central Intelligence Agency is angry about what they think is the mishandling of the Bay of Pigs, the mishandling of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and they're concerned about John Kennedy being attended by Dr. Max Jacobson. If you look at the manifest of those who traveled to Vienna for the summit conference with Khrushchev, you'll find Dr. Jacobson on that manifest. And in fact, he writes extensively in his own book about injecting John F. Kennedy with this proprietary blend of prior to his meeting with Khrushchev. So we've established the Central Intelligence Agency's motive, a lot of which I think is being confirmed in these documents. And then, of course, there's Big Texas Oil. Kennedy wants to repeal the oil depletion allowance. There's just so many unanswered questions. For example, Malcolm Kilduff, the deputy press secretary for John Kennedy, the man who announces to the press that Kennedy is dead, historic recording, he says in his memoirs that he's on the elevator with the new president, Lyndon Johnson, immediately after Johnson has assumed the presidency. And he says to him, Mr. President, who would do something so horrible? Who would kill our president? And Johnson says, it was a communist, son. He says, well, what kind of communist, Mr. President? He said, it was a Russian communist, son. There's only one problem. Lee Harvey Oswald has not yet been apprehended. Another point, the FBI under J. Edgar Hoover puts out a telex to all of the station chiefs in the United States saying that Lee Harvey Oswald, a Russian communist, has been apprehended. But the telex goes out before Oswald has actually been arrested in the theater in Dallas. Another unanswered question.
So Roger, just in the interest of time, I do have a question though.
Sure.
So you were close to Richard Nixon. If Richard Nixon believed this, which I'm not doubting your story, why didn't he then go public with it during Watergate or in his post-presidency? Because it very well could have helped him while he was being transitioned into political exile.
You know, our mutual friend Tucker Carlson, I think, actually illustrated this point. Very recently, he played an audio tape that is a conversation between Richard Nixon and the CIA director, Richard Helms, in which he's beginning to pressure Helms for help from the CIA in the encroaching Watergate scandal. And he confronts him and says, you know, a lot of dirty business were covered up. And Helms plays dumb and says, I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about, Mr. President. And Nixon says it right out loud. He says, let me put it this way. I know who shot John. So the answer to your question, Charlie, is I believe, based on that recording and also on an interview I did with General Alexander Haig, Nixon's last chief of staff, that Nixon leveraged his knowledge of Kennedy's assassination and the government's duplicity in it for the pardon. And, as reported by the New York Times, Gerald Ford, later president, but at that time a member of the Warren Commission, at the direction of J. Edgar Hoover, the head of the FBI, actually takes the autopsy diagram from Kennedy's doctor, erases the markings that show a wound in Kennedy's upper back, and moves it to his lower neck, rear neck, to accommodate the so-called single bullet theory. When the New York Times asks President Ford, then a former president, why he did this, he said, well, the country needed closure. He didn't say the country needed truth. He said the country needed closure. So I believe Nixon actually leveraged this knowledge, leveraged this information. General Haig told me Nixon had them by the short hairs, and he told them, if I'm going down, I'm taking everyone with me.
So Roger, let's now go through the events on the day that JFK was shot. What happened that day specifically that was suspicious, out of the ordinary? And what in the cover-up or the investigation made people believe that there was something here that was less than desirable?
Well, let's remember, Kennedy is supposed to be going from the airport to the merchandise mart outside of Dallas, neither one of which is in the city limits. It is John Connally, then governor of Texas, who insists that the motorcade route go through Dealey Plaza. So why did they even go into the city to come back out of the city? And Jerry Bruno, who is the chief advance man for John F. Kennedy, records in his book that he objected to the motorcade route because it would have required, and did require, the presidential limousine to come to a full stop, a stop sign, which of course is what made Kennedy a target. Connally insists that if they don't take the motorcade route as demanded by the governor of Texas, that the entire trip will be scheduled. Secondarily, all of the buildings on both sides of Dealey Plaza are supposed to be searched, emptied, and sealed. They aren't. There's supposed to be multiple plainclothes Secret Service agents throughout the crowd. There aren't. There's supposed to be 3 motorcycle officers, each abreast the presidential limousine on each side. One, and he's directed to ride behind the presidential limousine. And then, of course, there is the question of Lyndon Johnson. The vice presidential limousine is riding 2 car lengths behind the presidential limousine. But if you look at newsreel footage and still camera footage, what you see in the succession of photos is Ralph Yarborough, the senator from Texas, arch enemy of Lyndon Johnson, Lady Bird Johnson, and Senator Johnson, or Vice President Johnson. And then in the next image, Johnson is missing. That's because he hits the deck prior to the first shot being heard. Now, Rufus Youngblood, who's a Secret Service agent assigned to Johnson, testifies to the Warren Commission that upon hearing the first shot, he pushed Johnson to the floor. After Johnson's death, Youngblood recants and says, well, no, that's not actually what happened. That's what I was told to say. But that Johnson hit the deck and was talking into a small radio or walkie-talkie prior to the first shot being fired. All of those anomalies raise suspicions about what happened that day. In fact, it was Johnson who convinced Kennedy to visit Texas. A division between the more conservative Bourbon wing of the Texas Democrat Party and the more progressive liberal wing as headed by Senator Yarborough. According to Jackie Kennedy's memoirs, the night before, Johnson goes to President Kennedy's hotel room in Fort Worth and tries to change the motorcade arrangements to put Senator Yarborough, his hated rival, in the death car with John Kennedy and move Governor Connally to the vice presidential car. Kennedy refuses, saying it defeats the whole purpose of his trip to Dallas. He's supposed to be seen with the head of the conservative wing of the party to try to unite the party for the 1964 election. Johnson pitches a fit. Jackie Kennedy says to her husband, "What's wrong with Lyndon?" And JFK says, "That's just Lyndon being Lyndon." As you know, Connally was wounded along with John Kennedy, and from thence the so-called single bullet theory was conjured up. In fact, this new documentary by Paramount Plus, What the Parkland Doctors Saw, you said at the beginning, Charlie, there are multiple shooters, and the wounds the doctors saw in John Kennedy were consistent with his being shot from the front and the back. None of this, of course, is reflected in any of the documents that have been released thus far.
So let's remind the audience, though, the significance of this, because some 20-year-old that might be watching this show, Roger, would say, that's all terrible, but so what? Okay, let's say that there were 2 shooters. If lied about it in the Warren Commission, they actively covered it up, and therefore it means definitionally it was a conspiracy. Roger, do you believe in more than one shooter? If so, what do you think happened on the grassy knoll?
There's at least 2 witnesses, one in the railroad tower, a second witness on the ground, who see a man on the fence line on the so-called grassy knoll. They see a puff of smoke from a gun. They actually see the man drive up in a green Plymouth station wagon, remove a rifle from a rifle bag, shoot from the fence line. I believe that man was a paid assassin, a Corsican who was working for organized crime. I think that is one of two shooters. The other shooter we've already talked about. I believe it is Malcolm Wallace from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. Johnny Roselli, very famous gangster, rather flamboyant, insists that he was a shooter shooting from the sewer grate. So there's at least 3 shooters. I think there may have been a 4th shooter in the Dow Tex building, which is across from the Texas School Book Depository building. 16 doctors record a blowout wound in the rear of Kennedy's head, meaning he a grapefruit in the back of Kennedy's head. By the time his body gets to the Bethesda Medical Center, and by the way, his body has Texas state law insists on an autopsy performed in Texas before the body can be released. So they essentially snatch the body and they take it to Washington. Now, I believe it is possible that Kennedy's body actually left on Air Force Two, got to Bethesda Medical Center earlier than expected. That the coffin that was on Air Force One may have been empty, and that wound is not recorded in Bethesda.
Well, and really quick, yes or no question, Roger. Didn't his head go missing?
His brain very definitely went missing. That is indisputable. Yes.
Poof, it just disappeared. Okay, Roger. So we have a couple minutes remaining here. The significance of getting towards the truth of this could show that the government lies to you and the government was involved. What would you say to someone that still believes that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, and any one of us that believes that there's more to the story, that we're just being conspiracy wingnuts? Roger, your response.
I'd ask them to look at the events of Butler, Pennsylvania. I'd ask them to look at the events of West Palm Beach. The similarities are very eerie. Let's take know that the Secret Service, the state police, and the local police know for 92 minutes there's a man who's been seen with a rangefinder and a gun within the sealed perimeter of the president's event, but no one tells the president's direct security detail, and he's not evacuated, which is what the Secret Service manual would have required. We're told that the Secret Service, the state police, and the local police are all on different radio frequencies, so they can't communicate with each other. In fact, local police see a man with a gun on the roof of a building earlier than the Secret Service, but they can't communicate that. We're told that
it's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running. That's why at Grainger, we're here for you, with professional-grade industrial supplies and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Told that Thomas Matthew Crooks is the man who shot President Trump from the roof of a building, but just as they hosed out the inside of JFK's limousine almost immediately, they hosed down the roof of the building where Crooks was of his DNA. I find all of these things troubling, and I think that there are more questions than there are answers. And I find it poses an existential threat to the established order. And now you look at the events in West Palm Beach, which are even more disturbing. How does this man, Ryan Routh, who is accused of trying to kill the president, we're told that he's indigent, behind in his rent payments, behind in his alimony payments. How does he afford to fly to Kyiv? How does he afford to fly to London, among other places he's been seen? How does he afford to post an online website recruiting mercenary soldiers to fight in Ukraine? How does he obtain the gun that he has with him on the ground in West Palm Beach, where the serial numbers have been filed off? Again, clear ties to the Ukrainians. So what happened in 1963 not dissimilar to what happened in the run-up to the presidential election, which is why every night when I say the rosary, when I pray the rosary, I pray for the protection of the president and his family first and foremost. You can call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but there's already been 2 attempts on his life. Why would there not be a third?
And I mean, that's dark and deep and true stuff, Roger, unfortunately. You have been working on this for decades, I'm sure frustratingly. Do you believe you're making progress, Roger, in informing the American people about the truth of how our government might have the ability to execute its own president?
Well, I certainly pray that I do. Charlie, I'm working on a book on the attempted assassination of President Ronald Reagan. You know, the government has never produced a final report, but we know that John Hinckley Jr., the man accused and later incarcerated and recently released in the assassination attempt of Reagan, is always in front of Reagan, crouching, shooting upwards. He gets off 4 shots. All 4 shots are accounted for. None of them hit Reagan. Reagan was hit from above and behind. This is indisputable. So I'm now in about chapter 8 of what I think will be a 10 or 12 chapter book on that assassination. I think that there's a timeline of history here, Charlie. I think the same dark forces, Eisenhower called them the military-industrial complex, we call them the deep state, the same forces who killed Kennedy, the same forces who removed Nixon for having the audacity of being for peace in a silent coup, the same forces that tried to kill Reagan, the same forces who tried to kill Trump. Is this, in fact, this deep state, this globalist conspiracy of unelected bureaucrats and others